Jennifer Kesse was born on May 20th, 1981 in New Jersey. She was known for her infectious laugh and amazing sense of humor. Her friends say that Jennifer was a great friend and was always ready to drop everything and help her loved ones whenever they needed it. One of her friends said that after a tough breakup with her boyfriend, she called Jennifer, who lived an hour away, a drive from her. Jen immediately drove to her house. She brought her chocolates and small stuffed toys and even spent the night with her to support her friend. Jennifer studied at the University of Central Florida in Orlando and graduated with a degree in finance in 2003. Later, she got a job as a financial manager at an investment company. A little known fact: Jennifer said that she was fluent in Spanish. In addition to being able to speak the language, she also understood it well. This ability came in handy after she moved into her new apartment. She bought this apartment in a condominium. This residential complex was undergoing heavy construction around the time she moved in November 2005. Construction continued for several months, even during her initiative, her disappearance. According to some reports, the construction company mostly hired undocumented workers from Mexico, many of whom were reportedly making derogatory sexual remarks about her every time Jen walked past them. Since she knew Spanish, Jen understood every word they said to her, and often complained to her family about the sexual harassment she experienced. These were large groups of workers, many of whom lived right in the complex during construction, so they wouldn't have to commute to work every day. In fact, out of the 447 apartments in the complex, only 250 were occupied, and the workers were allowed to live in the vacant units. Rumor had it that the work crew consisted mostly of undocumented immigrants. The girl was aware of her surroundings and that she had to deal with workers who were constantly angry, whistling, and staring at her whenever she walked past them. At those moments, she felt very uncomfortable. As a result, Jen was extremely vigilant. She always carried pepper spray with her and checked in with her loved ones every day to stay in touch. The security gates of the complex were always open during construction because workers were constantly coming and going, so there was no need to open them every time. There was no 24-hour security. The guard did not record license plate numbers, nor did he stop or question those entering or leaving the residential complex. A few days before her disappearance, Jen was on vacation and visited the Virgin Islands with her boyfriend Rob. While the young woman was at the resort, her brother Logan and his girlfriend stayed at her apartment. On January 22nd, Jen returned from vacation and stayed at her boyfriend's place in Fort Lauderdale, 200 miles from her home in Orlando. At that time, Logan called Jennifer and told her that his girlfriend had forgotten her phone in her apartment, and he asked Jen to mail it to them later. The next morning, Monday, January 23rd, Jen went to work in Orlando. It was her first day back at work after vacation, and everything went well. She left work around 6 p.m. and headed home. That evening, she made several phone calls to her family and friends. Jen's last phone conversation was with her boyfriend around 10 p.m. Rob said that for a year, every morning, every day, every night, he would call Jen. It was their routine. Jen always woke up before Rob because she had to go to work. Every time she would call him to say good morning and wish him a good day, or she would just send him a message saying she loved him. That evening they talked and said they missed each other, and they looked forward to the next time they would meet again. Unfortunately, Rob would never see his beloved girlfriend again. The next morning, Jen was supposed to go to work again. By 7 a.m., workers at the complex where Jen lived had already started their work. Around 7:30 a.m., Jennifer would usually leave for work. At that time, she was working at a travel company, a 25-minute drive from home. Jennifer had with her keys, a brown purse with her wallet, ID, bank card, iPod, briefcase, cell phone, as well as her friends' and her brother's cell phones. On the floor where Jennifer lived, only 2 out of 4 apartments were occupied, but her neighbor was away at the time. Jennifer's father said that every Tuesday workers were working near his daughter's parking spot. Later, the workers said that they did not see Jennifer leave her apartment and get into her car, which was something she usually did every weekday morning. That morning, Rob called Jennifer on his way to work, but found that the call went straight to voicemail. Jennifer always answered Rob, but this was the first time she didn't. Rob had a meeting at work at 9 a.m. After that, he decided to call her again, but once more the call went to voicemail. This was unusual, for Jen and Rob found it very strange. That day, Jennifer did not show up at work. Her colleagues were concerned about her absence and tried to call her, but nothing worked. Then management contacted her parents and explained that Jen hadn't come to work. During the conversation, both sides suggested that something might have happened to Jen. Calls to Jennifer's phone kept going to voicemail, suggesting that her phone was turned off. The parents, who lived an hour-and-a-half drive from Jen's house, drive to their daughter's house. On the way, they called the manager of the apartment complex and asked, can they send their employee to go and check the apartment? Jen. The door was locked, and using a spare key, 2 employees entered her apartment. They reported that everything inside the house looked normal, but Jennifer's car was missing from her parking spot. Around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the parents arrive at Jen's apartment. They discovered that she had been home in the morning and was getting ready to go to work. They noticed several of her work items on the bed, a wet towel, and her pajamas. In the bathroom, there was a hairdryer and cosmetics left in the sink. There were no signs of forced entry and no signs of a struggle. However, her purse, keys, cell phone, and iPod, which she always kept with her, were missing. The Kesse family said they found a men's medium-sized hoodie in her laundry basket, which did not belong to anyone Jen knew. They had no idea how that hoodie ended up in her apartment, but the police never bothered to test it for DNA. To this day, no one knows who the hoodie belonged to, but some people believe it could be the key to finding out what happened to Jennifer. Jen's apartment was never considered a possible crime scene. Later, the parents notify the police when they find their daughter in the apartment. But as is often the case when a missing person is an adult, the police initially think she may have left of her own accord, rather than being missing. When the police arrived, they asked Jennifer's parents how old she was. The parents replied, 24, to which the police said she had probably had a fight with her boyfriend and would be back soon. After that, they left. Later that evening, Jennifer's parents printed out flyers with her photo and distributed them in the immediate area, near her home. The police began to take the case seriously. Detectives checked activity on her bank card and pinged her phone to determine its location, but they were unable to find anything. It was as if Jennifer had vanished into thin air. There were no clues or hints about her possible whereabouts. But a couple of days later, something was discovered that would leave everyone puzzled for years to come. On Thursday, January 26th, a tenant from a nearby complex, after seeing Jennifer's car on the news, informs the police that a car matching that description has been parked in front of his house for several days. The police arrive and confirm that the black 2004 Chevrolet Malibu does indeed belong to Jennifer. Investigators seize footage from local surveillance cameras on which they discover the following. Around noon on Tuesday, the day Jennifer disappeared, an unknown person parked Jennifer's car in a residential complex located just 2 kilometers from where Jen lived. The surveillance camera footage shows a man driving into the visitor parking lot of the green condo complex, waiting for 32 seconds, then getting out of the car and, without looking back, quickly walking away in an unknown direction. What's interesting is the way he parks the car. After he parked, he backed up and parked the car again. The reason for this maneuver is unknown. This person was also captured by another surveillance camera. The most interesting thing is that this camera records video at a rate of 1 frame per second, meaning it takes a photo every second. And the investigators were astonished to find that in all 3 frames taken, the person's face was not visible, because it was blocked by the fence posts. At first, the investigators were pleased that the camera had managed to capture this person and that they might have a suspect. But they were disheartened to find that the person's face was hidden by the fence in all 3 separate shots. Subsequently, this person was called the luckiest person to have ever existed. The only valuable information regarding this unidentified suspect was his clothing, which was presumed to be that of an artist, a construction worker, a dishwasher or chef, or even a hospital employee, or even a golfer. In the years that followed, the identity of this mysterious person would remain unknown. Hundreds of theories would be put forward about who this person who parked Jennifer's car really was, and what connection he had to her disappearance. The police asked the FBI to help determine this person's height, but they were only able to say that he was between 160 and 165 centimeters tall. NASA also assisted in the investigation by enhancing the quality of the video to help identify the suspect. But all efforts proved unsuccessful, and the identity of this person remains unknown to this day. The black Chevrolet Malibu was parked between a white Dodge pickup and a Cherokee Jeep. The area where the car was left was described as not a very nice part of town. The car doors were locked and the keys would never be found. There were no signs of a struggle or blood in the car. The fuel level indicated that the car had traveled a relatively short distance. On Tuesday morning, Jennifer's DVD player was found on the back seat of the car. The driver's seat was pushed back. Jennifer's boyfriend, who was present during the inspection of the car, said that she never pushed the seat back that far. The police decided to use a K9 unit to track the scent from the car. The police dog was brought to the vehicle and immediately picked up a scent. It led the investigator from the car back to the apartment complex where Jen lived. But the dog went around the only entrance to the complex and came to the fence line, separating the public sidewalk from the private territory of the complex. As soon as the dog entered the area, she picked up the scent and headed straight for the stairs leading to the second floor where Jennifer lived. The smell led her straight to the front door of the house. Jen. The car was later sent to a forensic laboratory for further analysis. After examination of the car, only 2 pieces of evidence were found, a latent fingerprint and a small DNA fiber. Investigators believed the vehicle had been cleared of evidence before it was parked. Investigators were unable to ping her mobile phone as it remained switched off. However, it was established that Jen's phone and her brother's girlfriend's phone were both turned off at the same time on the night before her disappearance, and they were never turned on again. Subsequently, the police conducted a large-scale search in the area where Jen lived. About 1,500 people were involved in the search. The search was conducted in the vicinity of where Jen lived and where her car was found. They were looking for clothing, a wallet, a mobile phone, an ID card or keys that might have been on the roadside, the sidewalk, or in the grass. They also searched the forest located behind the apartment complex. Despite all their efforts, they were unable to find anything. In May 2007, the company where Jennifer worked offered a reward of $1 million. This was for providing information about Jen's whereabouts, on the condition that she was still alive. 2 years later, a strange discovery emerged in Jennifer's disappearance case. A young couple who were walking their dog found a pepper spray case with a mailbox key attached to it. They contacted the police and handed over their find. Upon further investigation, it was determined that the key did indeed belong to Jennifer. The pepper spray case is an exact copy of the one Jennifer's parents bought her for when she would be living on her own. Jennifer's father has the exact same case. Interestingly, the case and the key were found near a street called Jennifer Lane in Windermere, 10 kilometers from her home. So what does this mean? Was it a random find or a taunt directed at the police by someone involved in Jennifer's disappearance? Is it possible that Jennifer used her pepper spray against her attacker? Unfortunately, there is very little information about this discovery, and it has been heavily criticized. So what really happened to the young and beautiful Jennifer? Let's look at a few theories about her disappearance. Investigators believe that Jennifer disappeared on the morning of January 24th, since her bathroom was wet and a damp towel was found on her bed. However, some think that for some reason she might have left her apartment at night. Reportedly, her phone was turned off and the battery was removed on the night of January 23rd. Because of this, some people believe that this was when she was abducted. The first theory suggests that her boyfriend Rob was somehow involved in her disappearance. Nevertheless, he was questioned by the police and ruled out as a suspect because he lived about 3 hours away from Jen's home and had an alibi for that day. The next theory is that her ex-boyfriend Matt was involved in the disappearance. The night before Jen disappeared, Matt was drinking at a bar located 8 kilometers from where she lived. For many people following this case, this coincidence seemed very strange. Nevertheless, Matt had a solid alibi. He stated that he went home that same night and went to work the next day. His roommates and co-workers confirmed this. The third theory is that one of the residents or workers at the apartment complex was involved in the disappearance of Jennifer. She told her parents that she didn't like the presence of the workers and that they regularly made snide comments toward her. Many of these workers were working illegally without any documentation. They lived in empty apartments in the complex and they all had full access to the building. And when Jennifer's brother tried to ask them if they saw anything that morning, they simply ignored him. There are also rumors that more than half of the work group did not show up for work after the disappearance. Jen. In support of this theory, I would like to cite the testimony of a woman who was in this residential complex approximately 4 weeks before Jennifer disappeared. This woman was visiting a friend who lived in this complex and she was approached by a worker who made her feel extremely uncomfortable. She said that she met a worker there. He was so frightening that she told him she needed to leave immediately. He kept staring at her, smiling and asking questions. Later, she admitted that after meeting this man, she got goosebumps. Perhaps young and beautiful, Jen attracted the attention of one of the workers, who kidnapped her, raped her and killed her. Even though the events took place in broad daylight in a residential area, if she had been kidnapped by a stranger, she surely would have started screaming and someone probably would have heard or seen her. And the last theory, it suggests that a colleague of Jennifer's may have been involved in her disappearance. He openly showed interest in her, even though he was married and had children. Campos apparently flirted with Jen and asked her out several times, but she politely turned him down. The girl didn't know how to handle the situation, so she asked her father for advice. He told her to invite him to a business dinner and simply explained that she wasn't interested in an office romance, and to politely remind him that he was married. That's exactly what she did, and reportedly he took it well. The reason why Campos is considered an unofficial suspect in this case is that on the day Jen disappeared, he arrived at work very late, around noon, and seemed noticeably agitated for no apparent reason. He explained his tardiness by saying that on his way to work he was stopped by the police and given a speeding ticket, although this fact was never verified. In addition, on Monday, after Jen returned from vacation, he kept asking her about her trip to the Virgin Islands. Every time she told him about it, he would get angry. Many people believe that Campos was jealous of her boyfriend. According to another company employee, Campos behaved very strangely on the day Jennifer disappeared. He even made several very inappropriate remarks about her disappearance, saying that she had probably already been eaten by alligators. Her colleague named Adam said that a few days before Jennifer disappeared, Campos was upset because she was dating her boyfriend and not him. Adam said that he looked through the email correspondence between Campos and Jen, during which, reportedly, Campos was unhappy that she refused to date him. He also says that when Campos saw the email Adam had sent to Jennifer, in which he told her she looked good, that day Campos got upset and asked Adam if he was sexually interested in her. Based on all this, the theory of a jealous coworker seems quite plausible. The disappearance of Jennifer Kesse. This is one of those rare cases that is simply baffling. It has been 13 years since Jennifer disappeared, but we still have more questions than answers. Her case has attracted a lot of attention, especially on internet forums, where numerous speculations and theories about her disappearance still arise. Since there were no signs of struggle or traces of blood found in Jennifer's apartment, nor in her car, some people believe that she was abducted. The questions that still remain are when, how, and by whom she was abducted. The police believe that she was kidnapped in the morning, as she was walking to her car to go to work. If that's the case, then why did no one see it happen? If Jennifer was killed, the question is, where is her body? There is a theory that she might have been strangled, and since the apartment complex was still under construction, the killer could have buried her body in the walls of one of the buildings or under the foundation. This is truly a mysterious disappearance with so many unanswered questions. There's the phone that was turned off the night before her disappearance, the men's hoodie found in the laundry basket in her apartment, the suspicious workers, the mysterious man who parked Jen's car, and the pepper spray case with the mailbox key that was found 2 years later. Jennifer and so many other questions, the main one being, what really happened to Jennifer Kesse?